Now I call the meeting to order. Thank you very much. Now, Madam Co-Chair, Excellencies, let us now proceed to agenda. We have the agenda here. Now we should proceed to agenda item number 1. The number 1 is the opening remarks by the Co-Chair. May I start off first? Yes. Madam Co-Chair, Excellencies, on behalf of ASEAN, please allow me to start by extending a warm welcome to you, Madam Co-Chair. Your presence here at this meeting shows the strong relations between ASEAN and EU, as it continues to bring mutual benefits to the peoples of both regions and contributes to global peace and prosperity. May I take this moment to offer our congratulations to Madame Mogherini for receiving the 2016 ASEAN Peace Prize list last month. Congratulations. And it has been 2 years since our congratulations to you on the EU's role in Iran nuclear agreement back in 2015, when you first participated at the PMC+1. Your contribution and efforts on behalf of the EU to global peace and security has been well received here in Southeast Asia. The regional and global geopolitical landscape is witnessing great change, and there are more uncertainties. The principles of regionalism and multilateralism, which have helped and generate peace and prosperities, are being questioned and ever challenged in parts of the globe. In face of this, both ASEAN and EU have been models of success of regional integration, while the ASEAN-EU partnership has been a pillar for inter-regional cooperation on the basis of mutual interest. In the meantime, we need collective efforts to deal with the challenges of, among others, transnational crime, cybersecurity, maritime security, terrorism, and climate change. So ASEAN-EU partnership becomes even more important at this year of the 40th anniversary and beyond. The Bangkok Declaration on promoting an ASEAN-EU global partnership for shared strategic goals, adopted at the 21st ASEAN-EU Ministerial meeting in Bangkok last year, provides us with a strategic direction on how ASEAN and the EU can jointly tackle such issues, position ourselves in the changing regional and global landscape, and a strategic partnership. My message here is straightforward and simple. It's imperative for ASEAN and EU to maintain and even build up the momentum of our partnership, not only for the sake of our two regions, but also for the purpose of reinforcing the rule-based multilateral order. And in doing so, the ASEAN-EU partnership must always be people-centered and leave no one behind. The long-term resilience of our partnership is the strength and support that it receives at the grassroots of the people of all ASEAN and EU member states, and from the regional initiatives of ASEAN and the EU. And lastly, on behalf of all of us, let me express our sincere appreciation to the Philippines, the ASEAN chair and host, for the excellent arrangements of the meeting and the warm hospitality that accorded us all. And now I have the pleasure to invite Madame Co-Chair to deliver her opening remarks. And the floor is yours, Madame.
Thank you very much, Mr. Co-Chair. Thank you also for the excellent work we've done together during the period of time where the Kingdom of Thailand has taken this responsibility in ASEAN. Excellencies, dear friends, it is for me really a pleasure to be here today. Thank you also for the congratulations. I'm flying directly from Tehran, where I was attending the inauguration of President Rouhani, and I was happy to hear from his words the commitment of himself and Iran to stick to the Iranian nuclear deal, which is, I think, a major element of security for both Europe and Asia and the global order in general. But it is particularly a pleasure for me to be here and together with my team as we celebrate the 40th anniversary of our friendship. Later today, we will go through 40 years of shared history. We will also probably remind the fact that we celebrate 50 years of ASEAN and 60 years of the European Union. But let me tell you that I'm glad to be here first and foremost to look at the future and to push our common work forward, because our world deserves and needs our friendship to be strong. You mentioned the many new uncertainties that we're facing in the global outlook, and our friendship and cooperation today is even more relevant than it has ever been in the past. Yes, Europe and Southeast Asia are geographically a world apart, yet what happens on this side of the world matters very much to us, and I believe the same is true for you. What happens on our side of the world counts for your people. We Europeans care about your countries, your people. We have an interest in the security and development of your countries because they are essential to security and development all over the world. And when we join forces, we have already seen it, there is much we can achieve together. And first of all, this is about new opportunities for our citizens, as you said, people-centered, both here in Europe and globally. The exchanges between our regions support growth in both continents. Only last year, I was looking at the figures, almost 10 million Europeans came to Southeast Asia, and the number continues to grow. Both the European Union and ASEAN want a free and fair global trade. The impact of bilateral free trade agreements between the European Union and ASEAN countries will be huge, with great benefits for our firms and our citizens. And these agreements will be the stepping stones towards a future region-to-region agreement. The air transport agreement we are negotiating would be the first of this kind. When it will be finalized, thousands of new jobs will be created, and 1 billion people will be able to fly directly for lower prices and with the highest security standards. And last but not least at all, we all want to continue fighting climate change and preserve the Paris Agreement. Particularly important to re-stress this today jointly. And I am glad that today we will adopt a joint statement to reaffirm that we stand by our own commitments and we will continue to work together for its full implementation. If we look at the security issues, it is even more evident how close our regions have become. All crises today have a global implication, a global impact. The conflicts in the Mediterranean or in the Gulf or in the Horn of Africa have a clear impact on markets and societies here in Southeast Asia, and tensions or radicalization in the Asia-Pacific can destabilize far beyond your own region. The situation in the Korean Peninsula makes for the most obvious case. It affects all of us, and we all have a responsibility to work for peace. Let me say that it is particularly painful for me to talk about nuclear proliferation on this particular day in this part of the world, because 72 years ago, the first atomic bomb destroyed Hiroshima. 72 years later, our world is still not free from nuclear weapons, and the nuclear non-proliferation and disarmament agenda is, I believe, a key common interest we share, and in particular, the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula is a common interest we have, an Asian interest, a European interest. We want to build a stronger cooperation with our Asian friends who share our aspirations to peace and cooperation on North Korea, but also on so many other issues related to our common security. So the European Union is committed to cooperation with ASEAN in general terms, to security in Asia. We want to contribute as your security partner, and we are doing so in two very concrete ways. First, we are making our European Union stronger in the field of security and defense. And second, we're making our partnership with ASEAN even closer and more operational. Our European Union has just turned 60. We are, from some perspectives, quite young, from some others quite old. It depends on the kind of approach you take to life. Today, we are not only the largest trading bloc in the world, we are, and we need to be even more, a global security provider for our own interest, and because so many of our partners expect us to play a major global role in the situation the world is facing today. This is why we have participated in your disaster relief exercises last year, and for the first time, the European Union also took part in an ASEAN Plus naval military exercise. The European Union is a global force for peace and cooperation, and this also requires a stronger European Union of security and defense. This is what we're working on with our member states, that taken together have the second largest defense budget in the world. We're putting this together through increased European cooperation also in this field. We will become an even stronger provider of global security for the benefit of all. I know that we live in times full of doubts and uncertainties. I also know that after the British referendum last year, some predicted that the European Union would have dissolved or headed towards an inevitable decline. On the contrary, what is happening is that our union today is stronger, more determined than ever to continue working together, because only together as Europeans, but also with our partners, we have an impact in the global world of today. And with the same spirit, we want to bring our partnership with ASEAN to the next level. The European Union has already become one of the main contributors to the work of the ASEAN Regional Forum, and I would also like to thank you all, and the Philippines in particular, for inviting us to attending the November East Asia Summit in Manila as guest of the chair. This is a very much appreciated invitation. The East Asia Summit has been playing a very important role in promoting cooperation and trust, which are a rare currency in our times. And we look forward to contributing to this work as a partner and as a friend. And the same goes for other security and defense fora in Southeast Asia, notably the ASEAN Defense Ministers Meeting Plus. To conclude, there is much we can do together, both on traditional defense and non-traditional security challenges. I would only mention one that is particularly close to our hearts and central to our societies, the challenge of radicalization. We believe we can only prevent further damage if we work together, sharing not only information, but also good practices on prevention, on inclusion, and on diversity. Let us never forget the joint potential of our cooperation. Together, we represent over 1 billion people. We are among the largest world economies. The European Union in itself is the second one in the world, the first single market in the world. We are also the first foreign investor in ASEAN and your second trading partner. So 40 years into our friendship, we are still pioneering new forms of cooperation. We are adopting today very important documents. The potential for greater engagement is huge. The European Union is firmly committed to increase the level of our cooperation. Progress is entirely up to us. From trade to migration, from defense to counterterrorism, together we can make our two regions stronger, and as you said, Mr. Co-Chair, together we can advance a more cooperative and multilateral system of global governance in the benefit of all our people. I would like to thank you very much and wish us all a very successful meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Co-Chair. I certainly hope that your first single market in the world stay as strong as ever. And I hope that you don't need to seek to go further on top from the second largest defense budget to be the champion of that area. Now we have concluded the opening session of our meeting. I thank all the media and request that media members leave the room, and then we can begin with the closed session. Now,